Title: The Commuter's Code, 9 Rules for the 8:17 Train. I used to be like you, a normal commuter, dragging myself onto the same train every morning like clockwork. The 8:17 a.m. express from Platform 3 to the city. I never thought anything of it. It was just part of the daily grind. That was until the man in the tan overcoat handed me a neatly folded slip of paper one morning. No words, just a nod. He stepped off the train before the doors closed and vanished into the fog like he had never existed. At first, I didn't read it. I tucked it into my coat pocket, assuming it was some weird attempt at a flyer. But that day, something changed. The lights in the train flickered when we entered the tunnel between Briar Hill and Carson. Nobody else reacted. A woman seated across from me mouthed words I couldn't hear, eyes wide, tearful, before calmly biting off the tip of her own finger and tucking it into her purse like it was a breath mint. Still, no one reacted. Not even her. That night, I unfolded the slip. It wasn't a flyer. It was a list. A set of 9 rules, handwritten in shaky, urgent penmanship. 1. Never sit in row 7. Not even if it's the only seat left. 2. If a man in a white hat asks for the time, say I'm running late and shut your eyes until he walks away. 3. If the train never skips Briar Hill without stopping, get off at the next station, no matter where it is. 4. Do not, under any circumstances, look at your reflection in the train's windows after 8:23 a.m. 5. If you hear a child giggling and there are no children on board, cover your ears and do not look up. 6. The man with no mouth rides in car 4 on Wednesdays. Avoid car 4. 7. If someone boards the train wearing all black and holding a sunflower, offer them your seat. 8. Do not eat or drink anything after Briar Hill. They are watching then. 9. If the train arrives and no one gets off, let it leave without you. I laughed. I did. Because what else do you do when the madness starts small? It felt like a prank, some urban legend played on new commuters. But I still skipped row 7 the next morning. Just in case. By Thursday, I'd started seeing them. Not clearly, but just out of the corner of my eye. Shifting outlines. People who seemed too still. Like they were holding their breath every time I blinked. On Friday, I forgot the rule about the man in the white hat. He asked for the time. I told him 8:21. He smiled, not with his mouth, but with his eyes. A long tear rolled down his cheek, and he whispered, "That's the wrong answer." He was gone at the next stop. But for the rest of the day, every screen I looked at showed me sitting on the train, motionless, pupils blown wide, mouth stretched in a silent scream. I called in sick after that. The worst part? Nobody else on that train ever talks about it. They know, but they pretend not to. That's part of the game. Maybe it's how they survive. I've seen grown men cry without a sound while holding onto the rail. A girl once tried to jump out between stations. No one stopped her. The train didn't stop either. Last Monday, I got bold. I broke rule number 4. My reflection stared back at me, at first. Then it grinned. My reflection didn't blink when I did. It mouthed something silently before slowly sliding out of sync with my movements. I threw my coffee at the window and screamed. No one looked. The train didn't even jolt. Now I follow every rule like gospel. I print them out, update them. Rule number 6 has changed. The man with no mouth rides every day now. And he's moved to car 3. I'm writing this while riding the 8:17 train. It's Monday. I saw someone get on holding a sunflower and nobody moved. He's walking down the aisle. No one's offering him a seat. He's stopping at row 7. If you ever take the 8:17, remember the rules. If someone tries to hand you a list, take it. God help you if you already know them. That means you're on a list too. I should have gotten off that day. I should have stood up, run down the aisle, pried the doors open with my bare hands if I had to. But I didn't. I just sat there, frozen, watching as the man with the sunflower scanned each face like he was trying to match someone to a photo in his head. The flower in his hand was wilting now, the petals browned and curled, but he cradled it like it was something sacred. When his eyes landed on me, I knew, somehow, I was the one he was looking for. He didn't speak. Just tilted his head, raised one long, dirt-stained finger, and tapped the side of his neck. My throat immediately dried out, tongue like sandpaper. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out, not a sound. The train hissed forward. My fellow passengers stared blankly ahead, their faces glassy, vacant. I wasn't invisible, no. They knew what was happening. They were just pretending it wasn't. Pretending is easier. Safer. He slid into row 7 across from me. That was my first mistake, I hadn't seen someone leave it. It had been empty for a reason. As the train passed Briar Hill without stopping, I felt the shift, an almost imperceptible jolt, like the train passed through a layer of reality too thin to hold it. I looked around. The lights flickered once. Then again. And then. They didn't come back on. Darkness swallowed the carriage in an instant. Not black. Hollow. Like the air had been vacuumed out of the train. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. Then, from the opposite end of the car, something began walking toward us. Not running. Deliberate. Hungry. Wet. I could hear it breathing, shallow and ragged like it had no lungs, only a gaping hole trying to pretend it was alive. The man with the sunflower turned his head toward it. And smiled. He stood, gently placed the flower on my lap, and walked toward the thing. Just as they met in the center of the aisle, the light snapped back on. He was gone. No trace. Not even a scent. Just the sunflower, bright and yellow once more, its petals pristine, as if they'd never wilted. The passengers still refused to look at me, but one woman 2 rows down scribbled something on a gum wrapper and slipped it into my pocket as she passed me to get off at Carson. I didn't open it until I got home. 3 new rules, scrawled in frantic, red ink. 10. If a sunflower is left for you, bury it in salt before the next train. 11. Never ride during a full moon. The tunnels echo. They call back. 12. If you ever hear your own voice say something you didn't say, get off. Even if the doors are closed. Even if you have to break a window. Get off. The next morning, I didn't take the train. I stayed home, called in sick, tried to sleep. But every time I shut my eyes, I was back in the carriage. My body limp, reflection grinning at me through a darkened window. My voice whispering something my ears couldn't understand. The sunflower was on my nightstand when I woke up. Salt didn't work. I burned it. The flower screamed. I haven't slept in 3 nights. I moved apartments, changed my phone number, even threw my work ID into the river. But when I left the building this morning, the 8:17 train schedule was posted at the corner of my street. There's no station there. Never has been. But the digital screen flickered alive as I walked by, the next arrival blinking in yellow. 8:17, on time, platform 3. That was when I understood. The train doesn't stop for everyone, just for those on the list. And once you know the rules, you're already on board, even if your feet never touch the platform again. I'm writing this from a hotel 2 cities away. I walked for 6 hours just to put distance between me and the tracks. But I turned on the bathroom light just now and saw something that makes my stomach churn even as I type this, a reflection in the mirror behind me, sitting perfectly still on the toilet lid. Grinning. Not me. It whispered something I shouldn't have understood. But I did. You're late. Next stop, you. If you're reading this, memorize the rules. Print them. Burn them into your brain. And for God's sake, don't ride the 8:17. Even if it shows up at your doorstep. Even if it's calling your name. Even if it looks empty. It never is. That's the part no one ever tells you, not really. You think you're safe when the car looks empty. You think if the lights are on and the announcements are chirping away in their usual robotic cheerfulness, you're okay. But that's when it's the worst. That's when they hide in the folds of reality, in the spaces between blinks, in the half-second where your eyes adjust to the light after darkness. The train never runs empty. It just pretends. I tried to leave the country. I booked a flight the same night I saw the schedule on my street corner. Didn't pack. Just grabbed my wallet and passport and ran. I stayed at the airport for 10 hours before I boarded, stomach in knots the whole time. Every few minutes, I'd hear a chime. It was the same tone as the one from the train, 3 ascending notes. Ding. 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 And once, I swear I heard the conductor's voice, muffled through the airport speaker system. Final call for platform 3. 8:17. No delays today. There's no platform 3 at an airport. I sat next to an old man on the flight. He never spoke, just clasped something in his hands like a rosary. I tried to sleep, but when I turned my head to the window, I saw the train, moving in perfect tandem with the plane, gliding across clouds like tracks were laid for it in the sky. In car 4, something was pacing. That was when the old man finally looked at me, with tired, sunken eyes. He didn't blink when he spoke. You're still on it. You never got off. I passed out. Woke up in my hotel room again. Not the one I paid for. The one I checked out of 4 days ago. My luggage was there. My phone. My charger. But my passport was gone, and in its place was a train ticket, date stamped for tomorrow. One way. 8:17 a.m. Platform 3. I tried to rip it. Burn it. Shred it. It grew back. Each time. Folded neatly on the nightstand. My name etched in gold foil letters on the back, but the ink bled if I stared too long. I woke up this morning with a taste of metal in my mouth and black smudges on my fingertips like I'd been handling coal. I didn't plan to write it again. But when I stepped out to run, just to feel like I had a choice, there it was. Pulled right up to the sidewalk, the doors open, lights flickering. I ran in the opposite direction. But I could still hear the doors hissing behind me, feel the platform tiles underfoot even when I hit pavement. It was following me. I don't know how long I can run. I don't know how many more times I can wake up from this. Because something's different now. The rules. They've changed again. They're not written on paper anymore. They come in dreams. In the lines of static between phone calls. In the pauses between words spoken by strangers who don't know they've said anything at all. I heard Rule 13 from a cab driver who'd never spoken English before. He dropped me off and whispered, "Don't ever turn around if someone says your name and you're alone. They only get to call it once." Rule 14 came through a voicemail left by a number I didn't recognize. It was my voice on the other end, but it wasn't me. It was the other me. The one from the window. The one who watches. The one who smiles too wide. If you ever see two trains at once, don't board either. One of them's real. The other is hungry. It doesn't care which one you think it is. Rule 15 is why I haven't slept. If you feel your body moving, but you're lying still, get up. Get up immediately. Something else is trying to learn how to wear you. I've scratched them into my walls. Into my arms. They fade if I don't repeat them. I've met others now, people who broke rules. Their faces aren't right. Too smooth. Too still. They sit beside you on the bus, in restaurants, even across from you at job interviews. Sometimes they hum the 8:17 jingle, low and slow, when no one's listening. The train is a parasite. It hooks into your life, finds the cracks in your routine, and slides in. It becomes the only route. Soon, every door you open leads to Platform 3. Every screen shows the schedule. Every clock ticks toward 8:17. You'll try to fight it. You'll scream. You'll burn everything and isolate yourself and never step foot near a rail line again. But it doesn't matter. You boarded when you read the rules. You punched your ticket the moment you understood them. And you don't get off unless it lets you. There's a final rule, but I haven't written it down yet. It came to me in a nightmare last night, clearer than anything I've seen in months. I was the only one on the train. Or so I thought. Until I looked down and saw dozens of hands reaching out from beneath the seats. Some were mine. All of them were holding slips of paper. All of them said the same thing. The 8:17 doesn't take passengers. It replaces them. If you've read this far, you've already heard the whistle. You've felt the ground shudder beneath you in that one quiet moment when no one else did. That means your stop's coming. You'll know when the lights flicker. When your reflection doesn't quite blink with you. When the schedule appears where it shouldn't. There's only one thing left to do, follow the rules. Every time. Or they'll follow you. And once they're behind you, don't turn around.